All right, everyone. A little report came out yesterday on the topic of North Korea saying, oh, well, yeah, they tried to hack chunks of the U.S. electrical grid. Thank goodness they didn't succeed. But their overall goal, I guess, was to cause mass damage. This is par for the course. Some people were acting like this was the end of the world. Oh, this is one step from an EMP. So I told you so. They're trying to destroy our economy. Whoa! You realize that if North Korea ever successfully hacked a significant proportion of our grid, it would be considered an act of war and result in Pyongyang being an ashen crater, right? You do realize that that's what would happen. That sort of incursion is a little bit beyond just like cyber intrusion. Like Hillary Clinton was the real warmonger. Remember during the election, and this is something she said during the debates. She referred to Russians. She said, well, if there are cyber intrusions from the Russian state while I'm president, we might even have to look at a military response, which I guess means war. That's a crazy idea. But responding if someone attacked your power grid through a cyber intrusion, yeah, that would make more sense. The way she said it, though, it made it sound like, oh, well, they hacked a couple state secrets. The bombs are now hot. They're armed and ready to fly. And my finger is quivering next to the little red button, trying to figure out how many millions of people I want to lay waste to. That's the way she sounded. Trump and some of the others, a step below that, it's like it would still be a bad idea to have, like, nuclear Armageddon in the world. But would anyone really risk a nuclear war over saving North Korea anyway? That's the real question. Other than North Korea, which doesn't have the capability to hit us. Yet, if we stop kicking the can down the road, they never will. A lot of people don't realize that eventually it'll come to blows, so there's really no other option. Trump might know this. Every single time, though, that it looks like he's finally gearing up to do something about the situation, somebody else in the admin is trotted out to sort of draw it back half a step away from the edge of warfare. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. I think Mattis is the smartest man in the room and probably the one Trump's listening to. And he's probably telling Trump, yeah, go ahead and sow like chaos and keep people nervous about this because then they won't know how to respond. Just like the good old days of World War II when nobody knew how to actually do anything against the U.S. troops because they existed in constant chaos, I think was the quote. But they've tried. But you've got to realize a lot of the stuff that people consider apocalyptic with regards to North Korea in current events is precedented. It's happened before. There are some things that haven't, like the H-bomb test, totally new. That's the most concerning thing from the last few years was, hey, they tested either an H-bomb or a shit ton of atomic material or one hell of a conventional explosive showing, hey, they can waste billions of dollars on bricks and bricks and bricks of plastic explosives and not bat an eye. But good money is on, yeah, it was a small hydrogen bomb of some sort. A really, really scaled up atomic weapons, something you wouldn't want to deal with anymore. Magnitude would be the same, yields the same. What's the difference, really? But that was unique. That was something concerning and new. But the missile tests, they've been doing that for years. They're not going to stop doing them either. Nothing we say is going to stop them. And nobody's going to condemn them, by the way, for it unless it flies over their territory. And remember, when they did the missile test and it flew over Japan, that was kind of new. Like, usually they fire them out to the ocean. Usually they fire it a bit more north or south to avoid sending it over the Japanese mainland because it's not a great idea, generally speaking, to commit acts of war against a fairly technologically literate, high-population neighbor. So that was kind of new, but the missile tests themselves are rockets. When they just talk about war and they're like, oh, we're going to burn you into the ocean. We are going to slaughter every American. They've been doing that for a long time. Really, they started doing that more openly. Here's the real key. I wonder if some people understand this. Back before the late Bubba days when they gained nuclear capabilities because Bill Clinton gave them a nuclear material. He gave them nuclear technology. Oh, just don't build bombs with it. Here, we're going to give you nuclear power for your country in hopes that you'll have dialogue with us. Of course, they never did. They took the nuclear material and started straight away making atomic weapons the second that they had the ability to do so. What, wouldn't you? I know I would. Bubba Bill Clinton was the shittiest president on foreign policy in a lot of ways. A lot of people give him way, way more credit than he deserves. It's sort of like the Reagan myth. The way the Democrats look at Bubba Bill, oh, you economics and foreign policy and charismatic. No, that's an illusion. That's a pile of bullshit, the same way people who applaud Ronald Reagan and seem to want to dig him up and suck on his dead bones because they get some weird euphoria off of the fact that he happens to be Ronald Reagan. No, ultimately he was befuddled and reigned over a period of general stability, in which people were still worried about World War III, by the way. Bubba Bill, same thing. It had nothing. There was nothing that he did that brought down the Soviet Union, by the way. Absolutely nothing to do with him. Hell, almost had more to do with Herbert Walker than Bubba Bill. And that's the funniest part. And of course, nobody remembers Herbert Walker, Bush Daddy. But North Korea has been doing this for a long, long time. Since the 1990s, they've had nuclear material. The second that they had an atomic bomb, they upped the ante on their rhetoric by an order of magnitude because they said, well, anybody that comes after us, now we can potentially deploy an atomic weapon. The likelihood anyone's going to attack us is now substantially lower. They can bring more pressure, they can make more threats, they can do crazier and crazier things the more nuclear material they have. If they indeed do have dozens of atomic bombs and or prototype hydrogen bombs, they can basically say and do whatever they want shy of committing actual genocide against one of their neighbors. Even if they did that, anyone that wanted to get involved with that would have casualties. We now have to deal with a world in which a rogue nuclear state, and no, it's not Iran, it's North Korea, was given essentially its program by the US, and this benefited us not one bit. In fact, now it just endangers several of our major allies in the world. We get absolutely nothing out of it. Thank you, Bill Clinton. What a wonderful deal you made. And it's sort of like when Obama tried to deal make with the North Koreans. Oh, you know, we might repeal this sanction. We need to have diplomacy. It's not going to happen. We've tried that for a long time. You may think Trump's being a warmonger here when he says, oh, well, it failed. Our negotiations never work. He's right. What fucking part of that don't you get? He's correct on that. Everywhere else, we either never tried negotiating with anybody, or our negotiation strategies were bullshit, or we came in guns blazing and never talked to anyone, like Iraq, Syria, Libya, wherever it happens to be. And in all of those scenes, any sane person is against the combat there because it can't possibly work. There's no mission. There's no goal. There's no way to benefit from it. There's no way to liberate anybody. It's just constant instability. North Korea is a different story. We've tried. We've honestly attempted negotiating with them. Never works. The Chinese can't negotiate with them anymore. Nobody can. What the fuck are we supposed to do other than go to war? When they threaten to destroy several of our non-nuclear neighbors. Like, threats to us, they don't matter as much because they're not going to do shit. Until we get involved, which then they'll do shit. Hell, there are some people right now that if a couple of hydrogen bombs landed in California and burned up 10 million people, they'd probably cheer. They'd say, oh, we win on both ends. We won on our own soil too. Thank you, Kim Jong-un. That's the weird part about it. This country is so fucking fractured, people would actually like that. And some of them would do it unironically too, you do know that. So there you have a tale of North Korea. They're saying, oh, we tried to hack the US electrical system. Well, no shit. They try to hack literally everything. It's not just us, by the way. You may not hear about it as much. I'm sure that they go after Russian and Chinese systems. They want more weapons tech. They want nuclear technology. They don't want just a halfway decent hydrogen bomb. They want something bigger and better, too. And they also want everything else under the sun. Better missiles. They don't have to get that technology from us. They can hack into Chinese systems. They can hack into Russian systems. They can do all sorts of stuff. It's sort of the way that it goes. That's about all. Peace out.